Now let's take a look at the parietal lobe. The anterior boundary of the parietal lobe is the central sulcus. So again, travel up the lateral fissure, find those two parallel gyri. In between is the central sulcus. So posterior to the central sulcus is the parietal lobe. Now the parietal lobe is bounded inferiorly by the lateral fissure, and it's bounded posteriorly by a line drawn between two landmarks. One of those landmarks is called the preoccipital notch, and that is right here. So it's a change in the angulation of the inferior aspect of the cerebrum. So right there is the occipital notch. And then superiorly, the other landmark is the parieto-occipital sulcus, which is here. And that structure is seen better on the medial aspect of the brain, so we'll look at it again in a little bit. But if we draw a line right between those two structures, that's the posterior boundary of the parietal lobe. Now the parietal lobe is made up of two lobules, the inferior and the superior parietal lobules. We're going to find the inferior parietal lobule first. So we're going to take our probe, trace up the lateral fissure, and at the end of the lateral fissure there's a gyrus that surrounds the end of it, and that gyrus is called the supramarginal gyrus. So this is the supramarginal gyrus here. And then posterior to the supramarginal gyrus is the angular gyrus. So this is the angular gyrus here. Those two structures are the inferior parietal lobule. Now, anterior to that supramarginal gyrus is this gyrus that is just posterior to the central sulcus. And this gyrus is called the post-central gyrus. And the post-central gyrus is very important in somatosensory input to the body, receiving that input. And posterior to that post-central gyrus and superior to that inferior parietal lobule is the superior parietal lobule. So the superior parietal lobule is here. So the parietal lobe is made up of this post-central gyrus, the inferior parietal lobule, and the superior parietal lobule.